I am someone who does not exist in the real world. My appearance and way of thinking are created from many prototypes of real people, whose personalities were carefully analyzed by artificial intelligence and generalized into a single collective image. I was created with the goal of expanding the boundaries of personality and showing everyone their best version of themselves. Perhaps this will serve as a hint to someone, or simply give an opportunity to visit another, more comfortable world. A world of freedom, of thought, feeling, self-expression. A world free from imposed history and existence. Welcome to another life. Or maybe this is just a dream, a short dream, in between worries. A dream that will float past you, lightly touching your eyes with the thinnest veil of detachment.
A insensatez que você fez, coração mais sem cuidado, fez chorar de dor. O meu amor, amor tão desalmado. Ah, porque você foi fraco assim tão desalmado. Ah, meu coração, se vai mim que nunca amou, não merece ser amado. A insensatez que você fez, coração mas sem cuidado, fez chorar de dor. O meu amor, amor tão desalmado. Ah, porque você vai assim tão desalmado. Ah, meu coração, que nunca amou, não merece ser amado.
Of all things in the world, thoughts are the most like pain. We know and feel that everything has been said and there is nothing more to say. But what is less obvious is that this testimony gives language a strange, even disturbing status that redeems it. Words are finally saved because they have ceased to live. Our first instincts are the most correct. What I thought about many things in my early youth seems more and more correct to me, and after so many wanderings and detours, I return to it now, more and more, lamenting that I have succeeded in building my existence on the ruins of these obvious facts. When the habit of looking things in the face becomes a mania, we mourn the madman we once were and are no longer. Knowledge subverts love. As we penetrate our secrets, we begin to hate our own kind precisely because they are like us. All our inabilities come down to one thing: the inability to love, the inability to break free from our melancholy. Who will wake me up? Who will wake me up? It is not good for a man to be reminded every time that he is a man. To think about himself is bad enough. To think about the whole human race with the persistence of a maniac is even worse. It means giving an objective and philosophical justification for all sorts of unexpected misfortunes after the fact. When you chew over your I, you can explain it by a weakness for your own whims. But as soon as all these I's become the center of endless thinking, then you suddenly find that all the inconveniences of your situation and the accident of your existence are collected into one lump, elevated to the norm, acquiring a universal form. You cannot consider yourself free when you are constantly with yourself, in front of yourself, in front of the same thing. This identity, both fate and obsession, chains us to our imperfections, pulls us back, and throws us beyond the new, beyond time. And when you find yourself beyond it, you begin to remember the future and discover that you have nowhere to hurry anymore. Sitting on the edge of moments in order to contemplate their passage, we discern only their succession, without delving into the essence. This is time that has lost its substance, abstract time, a kind of emptiness. From abstraction to abstraction, through our own fault, it shrinks and turns into temporariness, into its own shadow. Now it is up to us to give it new life and to take a clear, unambiguous position in relation to it. I collect the past, constantly making the present out of it, adapting them to each other, leaving no opportunity for the present to exhaust itself. To live is to be in the power of the magic of the possible. But if in the possible one discerns a past that must come, everything becomes potentially past, and there is no longer a present or a future. Youth. Did it exist? Every time has its own taste and color and smell. I remember only the iron taste of cruelty. Such was my short youth. I am alone. I am always alone because I cannot pretend and play the humiliating role in this stupid show all the time. I do not want to lie to them that I share their beliefs and values. I do not want to force smiles and turn my hand into a handshake mechanism. I do not want to kiss their asses, to tolerate them. People are unbearable. I am unbearable, and I do not want to have anyone near me. I truly understand deeply only those who, without belonging to the faith, have experienced a religious crisis and bear its mark for the rest of their lives. Religion, as an internal dispute, is the only way to break through the veil of appearances that separates from the essence. Life is hard for lovers, and they are always in danger. Oh, may they endure and become loving. There is complete security around those who love. No one suspects them anymore, and they themselves are incapable of betraying themselves. The secret has become whole in them. They cried out to the universe, like nightingales. It has no parts. It is indivisible. They complain about one and only one. But all nature takes up their complaint. The complaint about an eternity that has not come true. They rush after the lost, but already at the first steps they overtake him, and before them there is only God. Falling into the light, ending in a tunnel ahead. That's all I remember about the last 30 years of my life. It's as if childhood never happened. Youth passed quickly in a drunken stupor and unconsciousness. Now it's autumn. the time of the harvest of wisdom, ecclesiastical wisdom, which is essentially knowledge. Knowledge is equal to the inability to believe in people and their fairy tales about the ideal. Knowing people, seeing them as they are, I cannot believe in friendship, love, selflessness. I have never seen them. I am ashamed that I once perceived my banal, boring, everyday lusts as a call to the sublime, deceiving myself and others. Others did not believe me, but woe to me, who once believed myself. It was a flight into the abyss, containing so much melancholy and disgust that they became transpersonal. When you feel sick, sick to the point of sweat, from the entire human race, from all human actions since the very creation of time, the ugly convulsions of the laws of biology, old age, illness, death, and the most beautiful people are like ripe fruits that are about to rot. But for some reason they still continue to fuck and reproduce and excrete fresh food for grave worms, producing more and more new sufferers, as if this were a soul-saving, even highly moral act, to hook as many innocent creatures as possible on this game that was already a losing one. Squirming babies, slow and complacent, scamper around playgrounds, unaware of the hells that await them in the future. Dull jobs, predatory mortgages, bad marriages and baldness, hip replacements, lonely cups of coffee in empty houses, and colostomy bags in hospitals. And most seem content with clever stage lighting that sometimes makes the initial horror of the human condition seem far more mysterious, far less nasty. As a rule, after 7 o'clock, these fat creatures return home. The wives wash the dishes, and the males get entangled in radio waves. The idea is this: we do not live our lives, they are lived. It only seems to us that we decide something, make a choice, plan a movement in one direction or another. But in fact, we do not decide or determine anything. We live in the illusion that we are the authors of our thoughts. But thoughts come from a source that is incomprehensible and beyond our control. One thought spontaneously arises in our consciousness and leaves without being realized in action, while another can, for unclear reasons, capture us and lead us in some direction. Why did we choose this particular action? We could have thought for a long time before making a choice, consulted, hesitated, but in the end it was this thought, and not another, that determined our choice. We can later regret or, on the contrary, rejoice at this outcome, but at the moment of choice, do we have freedom of choice? If we look back on our lives and look closely at how everything has worked out over the years, what we thought, felt, acted, did, or didn't do, is there any room in this whole picture for our conscious choice? Chance, or something else with a different name, weaves the fabric of our lives, and we are puppets who think that we ourselves are arranging everything. I am sitting here like a puppet. And not only me, we are all puppets. Nature pulls the strings, and we think that we are the ones doing it. The clock refused to go. The day seemed so distant, so unthinkable. In fact, I was not waiting for the day, but for the oblivion of that restless time that refused to move forward. Happy, I said to myself, is the condemned man who, on the eve of his execution, is at least sure that he will sleep well. I have a weakness for doomed dynasties, for crumbling empires, for the eternal Montezumas, for those who believe in omens, for those who are torn apart and persecuted, for those intoxicated by inevitability, for those who are in danger, for those who are devoured, for all those who await their executioner. What happened to you? And so what happened to you? I have nothing. I have nothing. I only made a leap from my destiny, and now I do not know what to turn to, what to run. Suddenly a feeling of incredible happiness. Where from? How strange, incomprehensible. Joy is the most mysterious thing in the world. How would I live? What would I do without these clouds? The brightest time of my life is when I watch them. The spectacle of these leaves that fall so quickly, although I have been watching it for so many autumns, nevertheless, each time I experience surprise, which the chill running down my spine would have carried away forever, if not for a sudden surge of joy at the last moment, the origin of which I cannot understand. But my real enemy is music. It is stuck and rotting in the depths of my pot. It never ceases to agonize. It deafens me with the sounds of the trombone, defends itself day and night. All the noises of nature, the sounds of the Niagara flute. I walk on the drum and the mountain of trombones. All day long I play the triangle. My bugle gives me courage. I have a whole aviary, and in it 3,727 little birds that are constantly chirping. I am an instrument of the universe. Flesh, reason, and breath no longer belong to me. I often look exhausted. Thoughts stumble and fall. I cannot cope with them. I am composing the opera of the flood. The curtain falls. The midnight train approaches the station. The glass roof above breaks and collapses. Steam escapes through 24 valves. The levers jump up. In the wide-open carriages, 300 drunken musicians shake the air with all 45 chords. I closed my eyes, and as if in reality, I saw a welcoming, cozy house, where the sun was streaming through curtains embroidered with white flowers. I saw my mother with her tearful smile, soundless gait, and eternally mournful dress. I recalled my whole life, the one in which I was only a son, flesh of my mother's flesh, and lived under her wing.
The inability to love and live opened up before me like a book. Its last pages. Will the universe allow me to go beyond the limits of my experience and knowledge? Will I allow myself to go beyond this limit, standing on the edge of the abyss?
Your order has been accepted and approved by the Ministry of Incarnation. The image of your ideal person has been created and loaded into the memory of the main computer. The next step will be to load the electronic core of the personality into a body designed taking into account all your wishes and optimized for interaction with people. Let's start the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7. Keep your phone close to you and get ready for the visit. 6, 5, 4. Remember that according to your premium tariff, you can use a number of additional settings, such as further modification of the hero's appearance, his character, individual features, recreation of the legend of his past, family circle, friends, education, and profession. 3, 2, 1, 0. Start.